Tell me that.
The honest truth, maybe I may have to digress to tell you about the general nature of human.
Tell me.
So,
hello, this is the King's Fool recording, and I'm a learner. I've just getting myself to learn, and I think I have big brothers and big sisters, young brothers and young sisters who I can learn from. So today, joining me is my big brother, Mbongeni. I'm going to leave him to introduce himself because I think I am unworthy to introduce a person of his caliber.
okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. He has already said Mbongeni Ngwenya, and he said he is a learner and he is always learning. But I think that's true for almost every person on earth. So I'm also a learner, and but by profession I am a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for some time, and a former student of the University of Zimbabwe. So that's basically me. And thank you for having me, Mr. Lena.
You're welcome. Thank you for referring me as Mr. Lena, and I really appreciate it because as I'm growing up,
Yes.
I'm realizing how much I don't know and how much I can benefit from the expertise of different people. So, just to kick it off,
Yes.
what are you thinking about? What made you wake up today?
You know, today it's a weekend and a Saturday.
Yes.
And being Seventh-day Adventist, and every Saturday when you wake up, you think, well, it's church day. So you start thinking about church. You start thinking about attending church, and I think that's what woke me up today.
What else? Besides church, what else?
Okay, fine. So maybe if you ask me, let's say beside church, because church is specifically for today, though people must keep God in mind every day.
Yes.
But I think what wakes me up every day, let me say every day, is maybe the relationships that we have, right? So when you think about your mother, you think about your friends, and then I've been a lawyer for maybe I'm not a very senior lawyer, but I've been a lawyer for some time. So that also wakes me up. I like being a lawyer and going to do my work, and the relationships that I have with work, and just to keep those things going. That's what keeps me going.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. I'm going to come back to the issue of relationships,
Yes.
because I believe that God has made individuals, and in as much as He has made individuals, He has made us for community,
Yes.
for the society.
Yes,
So
yes,
I will
yes.
come back to that. But just to rewind back to your profession, what's in it for you? Why do you think you like being a lawyer? Because I'm getting the impression that you enjoy being a lawyer, and I still remember when you were here, most of your speeches, what you would say, it would show evidently that this person is a lawyer. What's in it for you?
Well, I think that's a very tricky question, because maybe the way I became a lawyer, I didn't say I was going to be a lawyer maybe for the longest time in my history. But I feel like I'm not directly answering a question. Maybe I would answer it as it goes on. But after some time, maybe when I was in high school, then I was thinking, what can I do? And then I found out that lawyering was probably the most thing that I could do. At first, I remember I was also interested in sciences, but my teachers refused me a class. in a science.
Why? Out of curiosity, I know you're going to finish off, but
Okay,
why?
okay, fine.
Just out of curiosity.
So this is what's happening. So when I was Form 3,
Yes.
I was a person who was into public speaking, and I think I was not bad, let me say not bad in public speaking.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was involved in junior parliament, so I managed to convince people to vote for me, and maybe it's because of the way I was talking.
Wow.
Right.
The campaign rhetoric.
Yes. So I campaigned so
that's
well,
interesting. Yes.
so much that I think in the history of that thing, it's hard to convince people that are not from your school to vote for you, but I think the highest number of people, from what I saw, like a number of people who are not from my school.
Wow.
voted.
Yeah, that's good.
So maybe from that perspective, when I went back for A level, and then I said, well, I want to do science, they were like, no, you are an arts person. Maybe because, but my grades were not showing any difference because I had same symbols for every subject, whether it was science or art or whatever it is.
Okay, so you're saying your preference was studying the sciences, but
not necessarily. Maybe I was still figuring out, because that those days there was STEM.
yes.
And
yes.
so our parents would be like, you know what, people are being paid for, and the parents, maybe being parents who want to make the most of what is there on earth,
Yes.
so they would prefer to.
The first of what is there or then.
So they would
That's
prefer.
interesting.
Yeah, they would prefer
Yes.
their kid to what
to do the STEM subject.
Yeah, because
Alright.
the government would pay for.
This is
So
good.
I that was, but my teachers refused,
Mhm.
and they said, I know you are an art student. So I ended up. So I went actually to a science class maybe for some few days,
Mhm.
and then the senior master called me and said, well, I hear you are in the science class, but we think you are supposed to be in the what? In the art class. And then I went to the art class, but manje, because they said that, I thought, well, let me take 4 subjects.
Yes.
And then some teachers
From
were,
the arts?
Yeah, from the arts. So some teachers were like, no one has ever done that before. So, but then I had to resist that kind of
Action.
advice.
Yes. Kind of.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had to persist with my 4 subjects. Then I passed. So when I passed, I really passed, I think. And then I went to, when I was looking for the places too, I was convinced that, well, I think I have to be a lawyer, and all the other people were saying so. Even if I went to other universities, like I once went to Lupane State University,
Yes.
and then they said, no, start with using, start applying there. When you can't find a place there, then that's when you can. So then I had to apply for law, and since that day I've liked law, I've liked my classmates, I've graduated, and then I went to private practice, and because anything has its own problems and troubles.
Yes.
So
yes.
I couldn't say private practice has been the perfect thing, but it has been the best.
So I will come to that.
Yes.
You mentioned something about doing a mixed bag of subjects, maybe at O level, right?
Yes.
So when you came to choose your A level subjects, you prefer the sciences part. Those who were looking at you and at your abilities, they thought you could do well in the arts. There are some people who believe that those who are good in sciences are always good in arts, and those who are good in arts cannot be good in sciences. Is that a true observation?
Well, I would believe that if a person is intelligent,
Yes.
right? Let me not say intelligent. Some people have a problem with those words, maybe. But if a person has some abilities, right?
Yes.
And then you give them some time to apply their minds on something, they may definitely, if they don't have hate or a bad attitude, if they apply their minds with enthusiasm and focus on it, they may figure it out, they may actually do it. So I actually did sciences after that, as out of curiosity. So when I was at school now, when I was a law student, I did
This is interesting.
so I did science.
You did science out of curiosity.
Yeah. Now, yes.
It-
Now I wasn't. Maybe I shouldn't say curiosity as such. I had some other reasons, but but I did those social science subjects that they denied me doing in A level. So to answer your questions,
Yes.
though I was doing this alone, there was no teacher, so maybe the disadvantage is that I was self-teaching. It was difficult, but the fact that I managed to understand them means that if you can understand arts, or if you can understand science, you can understand some of these things. Maybe you may not understand everything, but I think you can understand.
I am actually interested in the fact that I did those subjects out of necessity, and you are doing them out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Yes, I might not say that was the motivation, but if you can see someone applying their mind to not prove per se, but to expand their mind into that particular field, which is so maybe foreign from the one that they are originally doing. That says a lot about you. What do you think a young person, maybe in high school, who is watching me right now, might think of, or how do you think you are motivating young people by that kind of gesture that you took?
Well, I think those days, after I did that, I can talk of experience. Maybe I may not know of the theoretical part, but I had so many people reaching out. Some were saying, I was quitting, so now I want to take up and rewrite it, and so I think that was part of the motivation that I give. I think the idea that when things are possible sometimes. I've seen some people sometimes who let's say have failed before.
Yes.
And maybe and then they will be coming and asking, so how can I? So sometimes you would see that maybe the only thing that you can say to the person is just don't quit. And it's not like personally, I've not been successful in everything, right? I'm far from being a successful person, and then I started to also share where I was also not successful. Say, well, despite all that, but look, I tried 5 times, but at the end of the day, maybe.
So you mentioned something about maybe convincing people one from your school.
Yes.
Of voting for you, but obviously you have maybe a little in common with them, just that you're all students.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, you did not talk about, or you did not preach or campaign about taking those extra subjects that you say you took later on, right?
No, that was way before, because I was Form 3.
Oh, but what actually impacted the lives that you have referred to, those who called you, was the results.
Yes.
So you never talked about it, but you had results.
Yeah, actually, when I studied my sciences, that was very secretive. Like, no one knew, even my closest friends. They didn't know that I was doing that. They would see, let's say, when I was asking them, because some of them, they were doing pharmacy, vet science. So I would come to them and say, well, there's, let's say, for biology.
Yes.
So I'll start talking about biology and all that. They would be like, okay, fine. Why are you concerned about those things? So they didn't know what was
happening.
Yeah, what maybe my parents knew, because they at a certain age, at a certain time.
Yes.
And some kids that I used to associate with.
Or they knew.
Yeah, they knew, maybe because I also used to teach some kids. So those are the kids that they knew.
Yes.
But the rest they didn't know about that.
So I want to take I want to project what you're saying to your, maybe you mentioned about since today you were church, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned about Sabbath,
Yes.
right? And coming to church, your spirituality.
Yeah.
Maybe I might not want to invent that, but what is your maybe results in terms of doing a mixed bag of subjects impacted you, or what is your spirituality been doing for you towards those results?
Okay, I think doing a mixed, it helped me spiritually, because maybe as a curious person, maybe, am I curious? I don't know, maybe I'm not curious, but as a person,
from where I sit, you are. From where I'm sitting, you are curious.
All right, fine. Let's assume I'm a curious person.
Yes.
So I I read a lot of religious texts or literature, and I also read a lot of literature that was anti-religion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So so when I studied biology, especially the biology that has to do with origins of life, because when I used to take the book, there's this A-level text that is biological science, volume 1, RSOP.
Yeah.
So there's a section up there that talks about evolution, the origins of life, and all those things. Maybe starting from there.
Yes.
So I would appreciate better the debates around our origins, around our the evolution process. How does it explain the beginnings? Where is it faulty and all that? So when I took those things, that perspective strengthened my spirituality. And then also I think as Seventh-day Adventists, I think we are also encouraged to try to reach, to explore intellectual and all that. So I felt also partly I was living up to that duty as a Seventh-day Adventist, just be sound in knowledge.
This is interesting because I can tell by the way you are talking that you are the kind of person who maybe faces life's problems more squarely than most people who claim belief.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you say you get to appreciate someone's thoughts on the maybe processes of how we began, then you try to contrast it with what you believe. Then you find the gaps. And how has been that experience? Maybe you've met people who you maybe share different opinions with. How is that?
I think that has been very helpful. I remember when we were partners.
Yeah, this gets interesting now.
So we had a module that was taught by, maybe I shouldn't mention the names.
Yes, just
the lecturer was an atheist.
Was he maybe professed atheist or?
Yeah, he was very clear about it. He didn't believe. He said he didn't believe in God, and he was teaching theories that are anti-God on law and even on the origins of humankind. So I had some of my friends, of course, their own views about life, but at least we would agree that this is not purely law. Some of the questions, that it was someone who was more pushing his own atheistic Marxist views. So he was actually a Marxist.
Oh, okay.
So now coming into that environment, and with my background both in science, so whenever maybe this lecturer is making reference to the origins of life, how early, because in Marxist thinking, history is divided to so many other dispensations, let me call them dispensations. So it would be something like there was early communism, and then early communism or whatever. Let me that's for just illustration purpose, was replaced by.
I need this.
Okay, fine. And then they will be saying maybe the early communism was replaced by whatever kind of society or governance system, and then we ended up having Rome, and then all those they had all these theories and all that. So me, having studied possibly what science says about the origins of life.
Yes.
And the nice thing about these theories also is that when you are studying it from, let's say, purely scientific, they would tell you that this is the weakness about this theory
right.
is this, and the weakness about the strength about this theory and this. And at the end of the day, I know the A-level textbook, the biology textbook, says science cannot either disprove or prove God, right?
Yes.
And that, I think, that was fair on that at that level.
Yes.
So now I'm coming to university, and then we have this lecturer who possibly doesn't have much information on the scientific side. He is just Marxist.
He has just been trapped with his own.
Yeah.
Not trapped, but thoroughly convinced with his own worldview.
Yeah. So he's a Marxist. But now listening to this, I could actually see that this is not true. This is not very well. It doesn't make sense. And so you would get along, maybe just listen, and then because that's what the lecturer is saying, and then maybe when you are writing the essay, that's when you have the opportunity of saying, maybe however, there is a weakness on this theory and all that, and I'm happy though that helped me so much, I think.
So I want to go back to the issue of community relationships that you mentioned earlier on. But before that, you mentioned essays. And I remember learning a little bit of history in high school. And we would narrate a historical event, right? And then we put a conclusion to a greater extent.
Yes.
With the knowledge that you have harnessed from what you are saying, you have studied religious literature, anti-religious literature. How is your skill in writing essays helping you to navigate those who share different opinions from you? You are mentioning the lecturer. You actually mentioned how you would say however, because you're putting another side of the argument. How has that helped you maybe as an individual?
Well, I would say my views are, I found maybe that my views, they are balanced, and in our group, I think in our stream, in our class, is one of those streams that we had a lot of religious discussions in our group, and
in law school.
Yes, in our class on WhatsApp, and most of those religious discussions, I think maybe my friends would stay ask one question, then the other issue there was COVID. Remember during those were interesting times. So I found that I was constantly engaging in or being able to hang with those kind of discussions. And I remember when I was still at school, 2020, 2021, actually did a series in my class. It was 3-part, Just Another Man. It was the first passion, Just Another Man, was sort of apologetic. So apologetic is something like you are doing a defense for your view. So that was sort of a defense for Christ. Historically, is Christ a myth or a legend? Do we have reasons actually to believe in Christ? Do we have evidence that actually Christ is a divine figure and all that? So that was first portion, and then the second portion was, what was it about? Okay, in fact, it was a detailed discussion of Revelation chapter 9, 10, and 11. So I know people don't usually talk about those kind of text, but it was interesting because people were interested in those things. And then the last portion, I had called it diametral houses. So I was discussing what we call this, secret societies and occult theories or something like that. So some people may call those things conspiracy theories, but I was like, one of my friends, maybe I shouldn't mention names, was let me not mention what he was involved in, So he gave me some of these books.
Oh.
So I had to read them, and so I was, of course, as Adventists, we have some in our ranks who also like to
explore more,
to explore those kind of stuff. Yeah. So I could also draw from those.
Oh.
And that was nice. At the end of the series, some people were like, okay, can you compile those things, make it a book? But I thought maybe.
Yeah. Now this is unfair, because as your little brother, I should be knowing about that stuff. I mean, that you could have compiled that, because I need to read my brother's work also.
Yeah. Yes. I was actually thinking of that thing recently, because I kept a sort of a copy on my laptop.
Yes.
And I think I have it on. I might be have it on my phone. If I can show, I can show it. Yeah, the script, but it's from 2021. But I have been very reluctant.
So they might feel jealous of me because I'm getting first hand. But let's not do that. No.
Well, I wanted to show you the copy of that thing. Right. Sometimes I think, should I or should I? But what I did, I just sent to those people who were interested.
All right. So in other words, it's already out there.
It's not out there as a published thing.
But it's out there as just a shared thing in terms of friendships.
Yeah, to those who were close to me who wanted the content.
You mentioned something about discussing Just Another Man.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Jesus there.
Mm-hmm.
How has that helped you in your communication with others? I know Jesus was a controversial man.
Yeah.
And many people didn't like him. There are reasons.
Yes.
Some of them justified, some of them unjustified. What do you think when you were presenting on those lectures? What has Jesus helped you with in terms of communicating your ideas? Because from what you are saying, I don't see any implication of violence or maybe hatred against what you're trying to achieve.
All right. Okay. So I would say the way I presented that, it was sort of, we would present maybe a balanced or both sides. To say, many people think, for example, they would think God is a very cruel God, for example.
Yes.
They would say the Old Testament is a bloody book.
Yes.
And all that. And then we start exploring the reason why we don't have to think that way. And then in most of the cases, I would say, since that was a class group, and I didn't want to give an impression that I'm making a decision for people. So I would say, so since I've laid for you these are the perspectives, and these are the perspectives for believing, and maybe this is you may have your own views. You are the ones who's supposed to make that decision. I think that's how I took it. But I've seen also there are some complaints in one or two situations, maybe where people thought I was very forceful. But those situations were we are Adventists, right, alone,
yes,
and then
yes.
some experienced people in Adventism, right?
Yes.
And then I'll be feeling like, as an Adventist, and as not only an Adventist but a person who's experienced in Adventism, and also someone whom we look up to, you shouldn't be entertaining those ideas. So maybe I wouldn't be saying you shouldn't be entertaining those ideas, but I would be bringing my perspective in a very forceful way. I think so, or in a very biting way. So, and then some people ended up saying, well, maybe you are too forceful. So I think I've learned from that. I'm trying to see how then next time if I'm facing especially old people, the honest truth, maybe I may have to digress to tell you about the general nature of humans.
Tell me.
So humans.
Tell me that.
So humans resist.
Tell me that. Yes.
So humans resist maybe. They have some sort of pride and ego.
Yes.
So if they are wrong, sometimes correcting them in public or
Yes.
or a criticism may imply that you are insulting the intelligence.
Yes.
So maybe that could be the.
You like
the
that term.
So,
I remember. Okay, you can finish what you
yeah.
say.
So maybe that could be why. Maybe even if, let's say, your answer is well baked with some, even if you are quoting someone and you say someone, Martin Luther, for example, didn't agree with what you are saying on free will, and then
They think you're being attacked.
you are attacking them, or you have no respect.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's one of the challenges.
They say the truth hurts. As a lawyer, do you think it hurts? Because you're saying sometimes when you are just being maybe square.
Yes.
On the perspectives that are factual.
Yes.
Because facts have no respect of persons.
Yes.
Right? And does it hurt?
Well, I think, as I said, maybe the idea of admitting that you are wrong, it's sort of conceding that you had not properly thought about those issues. And in public, people are generally insecure. So I would say, in that sense, it hurts. But what's hurting is not that it's sort of the fact that I must admit that I was faulty. That alone, it takes someone.
Guilt.
Yes, that takes courage. I think to admit that we are wrong takes what?
Takes courage.
Takes courage and humility, which so many of us don't have that. So that's why, for example, let's say even when we are preaching Christ, someone may agree that I understand this is what you are saying. For example, let's say we take, for example, Adventist, we believe that someone ought to be baptized in a certain way, and we have scriptures for that.
Yeah.
So you may find someone whom you say, okay, sir, look, this is what the Bible says about baptism, and then they'll say, we understand, but the pride that they are in church, maybe they are in a church that doesn't do that, and they are notable people there, it would be a great humiliation for them to concede and actually be public about that.
So there are emotional commitments to opinion.
Yes. People are so what keeps people to their positions then would be that fear
of admitting that I might have been wrong.
I might be
in
wrong.
My reflection.
And imagine you have been wrong for 20 years.
That hurts.
Yeah, that hurts. So it demands courage to admit and actually change.
Oh. Yeah.
So I think that's what we can say.
I will drive you back
Yeah.
to what you mentioned at the beginning about relationships. That being created for community.
Yes.
Given to families, to society.
Mm-hmm.
How is the experiences of other people shaped you as a Christian? Now, I want you to project from as a Christian to being an intellectual or an academic or towards your profession.
Okay. Maybe I don't know whether I got your question. So you were saying like how the
relationships that you mentioned,
yes,
they are important to you.
Yes,
right? That's why you mentioned them.
Yeah.
And if they give you a reason to wake up, it means they must have influenced you in some way, maybe to put you to the place where you are right now.
Yeah.
And with a projection to a better future. So I'm saying, how is the people around you influenced you? First from your spirituality, going on to your academic
so
life.
let's say beginning. Let's say I'll start this way. My family is not Adventist.
So all of them.
All of my immediate families.
Yes.
Maybe let me say, because things are shifting.
Yes.
So I might say at the very first beginning.
Yes.
All of my family wasn't Adventist. So I'm not sure to what extent, let's say, at that point,
Yes.
they influenced me in my spiritual life.
Yes.
So maybe the development of my spirituality, because I wasn't born an Adventist, I became an Adventist late.
Yes.
So, and my family not being Adventist, I'm not sure whether I can quantify how to what extent can I attribute their contribution. But of course, at a later stage they accommodated my Adventism. That they encouraged me being an Adventist.
Yes.
And then thereafter, but when I became an Adventist, they were Adventists that I was close to, and they usually encouraged me. And sometimes we go to church to worship God and all that, but it's nicer sometimes when you have people that loves you around. And
Yes.
frankly, some of you ask God to not only see God, but to see God and the people there.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that impacted me a lot.
Well, that just gave me a memory that
Yes.
you mentioned.
Yes.
There's this other Sabbath.
Yeah.
I just woke up. Then I thought of going to church. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought. Why am I going?
Why
there?
are you going
Like,
there?
I spent the week actually studying on a certain topic.
Yes.
I won't mention it, but
Yeah.
so I was deep in the Bible that
Yes.
week.
Yes.
So I thought, why am I even like going to church this?
Mhm.
Not that I was saying I won't benefit anything from it.
Exactly.
No.
Yes,
I
yes.
will benefit, but there has to be another motivation.
Exactly.
Then I found it in people.
Yes.
And when I get to meet God's children, in fact, there's a song in our hymn now that
Yes.
says, "Make friends of God's children."
Yes.
Yeah, what you said is really resonated with me.
Yes.
And I think if we could maybe plug in and
Exactly.
and connect with
With
more people.
from then we will find services interesting.
Yes.
If the point you lose, you run out of people that are your friends, let me say, in church, the risk is high for you to not go there.
Right?
And it's difficult also to maintain a complete or some religious life alone. Yeah.
You're not a monk.
Yes. So the Bible even encourages meeting people.
Yes,
So that
yes.
we encourage each other and all that. So I would say from that level, relationships impacted me, or they impacted my religious life in that way.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
You came first year,
Yes.
you did your second year, third, fourth,
Yes.
and you joined the association.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were there. I remember you were one of the I look up to, especially in the issues of the constitution of the association. Let me just digress here,
Oh, okay.
make
Okay.
a detour and expose him. When he says he was rough, he was not rough per se, but he was just factual. You know,
Okay.
we
Okay.
used to have guys who would maybe wait for the AGM
Alright,
to
okay.
comment on the
Okay.
constitution or on the issues to do with leadership.
Yeah.
But they don't even know the constitution. So
Alright, okay.
my brother here once stood up, changed in the middle of the meeting, people shouting useless questions. Not useless per se.
Okay,
because,
alright, okay.
Yeah, we are all entitled to our own kind of
Yes,
thinking.
yes.
So we respect those questions, but in light of the constitution, they were unnecessary questions.
Oh, yeah.
So my brother stands up, he says, you guys, instead of coming here and asking these maybe pointless questions in a good way, without the knowledge of the constitution, maybe if you read the constitution, you would have the answers that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So I got something there.
Yeah.
I learned something that day. That even the Bible teaches us, answering a matter before you understand it is foolish.
Yeah, exactly.
Your profession, I think, leads you in that path.
Yeah, of course you need to know as much as you can.
What has that done to you in your profession? Now you mentioned that you are a graduate trainee, right?
No, I'm actually a lawyer.
Wow.
Yes,
Cut that out, please.
Yeah. No, I graduated. I was.
My people is a lawyer.
All right.
Yes.
So.
All right. So I was saying, what has that done to you, maybe in terms of facing other lawyers? Because I know you guys, yes, you don't compete, but you face each other.
Yeah, of course. Especially if you're a lawyer who goes to court.
Yes.
It's sort of a system where you have adversary. Someone is pushing their own story.
Why would you say adversary?
We actually call our legal system adversarial.
Seriously?
Yes.
Well, but that's a negative word. all right. The first time I knew that word,
yes,
it is nothing good.
Yeah, it's associated with enemies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I understand. But our legal system, let's say, especially the court system, is sort of, there's someone who wants something and you are defending yourself.
All right.
And there's some judge who has to make a decision at the end of the day, or as to whether who's right or who's supposed to get their day in court or something like that. So I think what that has helped me, because I tend to most of the times, maybe let me say, to be prepared, I think, when I go to court and stand my ground.
How?
Like make sure I really try to destroy the other person's case.
Destroy?
Yeah, and I try. Yes,
okay.
Yeah, maybe let me say. Yeah, destroy. Maybe that's the.
Yeah, that's fair.
For example, and also let's say in the legal profession, it's not only about what we call this, about, let's say, the merits of your case, but how you approach the court also plays a role.
Really?
So sometimes we meet a lot of cases where people just don't take thought about how they approach the court.
Really?
And it has helped me, because so many of the cases are disposed on those points. You approach the court wrong, so you file wrong papers before you even discuss whether actually you're entitled to what you're supposed to get.
You filed in the wrong way.
You filed the wrong way or something like that.
So the law is precise.
Yeah.
You can't go forward after this.
Yes. And then you just don't go nowhere.
You just don't go anywhere.
Yeah. And knowing those points and actually sticking to them is helped me so much. Maybe as a lawyer who goes to court regularly.
What possible advice would you give to your young brother? Is there a young brother who is maybe interested in what you are saying?
Yes.
Or your younger self?
Well, if you say my younger self, I wish that I knew so many things when I was young, but unfortunately.
But you look like you knew a lot of stuff beyond your age when you were young.
But still, yeah.
But still you want more.
I feel like sometimes, yes, when people in my circumstances, right? When I compare myself with so many in my circumstances, let me say, but I knew a lot of things, because yes, I would see sometimes I spend my days explaining whatever I'm explaining to someone. But still, I wish I knew more. I wish I knew what I know now at a younger age, or let's say when I was graduating. If I knew what I knew now, I think I would be a very different person.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, like, I see you as the best version of yourself right now, because yes, I do see you as the best version of yourself.
Okay.
And I think, alright, I believe that you are still progressing.
Yes.
And you're perfecting your art. And what are the challenges for you, maybe in this profession, that you maybe try and
maybe before I got that time, you had actually asked, what can I say to the younger other people?
Yes.
So maybe I should begin by saying, well, it seems then from my experience, you even if you feel like you have progressed, it seems like the world there are a lot of possibilities in this world.
Yes.
In this world, so you shouldn't just feel like you are up there. I see a lot of people. There are some people who feel like they have made it, but it seems like they haven't, especially at our age.
Yes.
Yeah, they haven't. So we should just keep on fighting and improving ourselves.
Yes.
And I had a lot of a fair share of my difficult times.
Yes.
It's just a difficult day. Maybe tomorrow will be better. So
Wow.
maybe we should continue.
Yeah, I do like that mentality.
Yeah.
Yes. So back to my question. What are the challenges that you think you are facing, and you want maybe someone who's younger than you to prepare for?
Let me start with the law, the legal profession.
Yes.
First, right?
Yes.
What I see from a lot of younger people and younger lawyers is they find it very difficult to start as junior lawyers and all that. Work law, relationships, politics, and all those things. I think general people young lawyers should be prepared and complain less and then do their work.
Complain less.
Yeah, because I think if complaining makes issues worse, like you remember, let's say, for example, when the Israelites were out of Egypt, they complained about the situation they were in the wilderness. And then God actually made it worse. He sent serpents. So possibly what we need to do in the situations that we are in, we need to face them and try to deal with them. It's better to die in bed than to be miserable, to be more miserable by complaint. I think that's what we can advise people to be generally.
Yeah.
Life is just not very smooth. If there are some who have smooth life, they are very lucky, but for some it's not that way.
I heard someone recently saying the most sinister thing about complaints is that they are real.
Okay. Yeah,
that's the most maybe dangerous thing about complaining is that you actually complain about something that is there.
Exactly.
When the Israelites were complaining,
they had reasons to complain. Yes.
But
when people complain, usually they have like legitimate reasons to complain. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't maybe air out your concerns or views, but murmuring and complaining and developing negative attitude makes issues very worse. You get it? At any situation.
Yeah, it's like licking our wounds.
Yeah,
it's like what we do is most maybe black people.
Yeah,
we are constantly licking our colonization wounds, and they no wonder they constantly keep opening up.
Exactly. We can actually acknowledge that we have a bloody history as people, but but can't we just be brave about it and try to fix and work on through it?
Yeah, because I remember myself, maybe I'm still intimidated. Maybe it's because I've grown up in an environment where those have been the history lessons. Whites. And I mean now, like I was challenged by my cousin. We once visited this football field in South Africa, and we were supporting our other cousin. He plays rugby.
All right.
So we crossed the football pitch to the rugby pitch. So there was a white coach, and he just came and was now interrogating us on what we were doing there and whatever.
All right.
And my cousin kept on walking, and I stopped because I was intimidated now because I'm not used to this guy. But where he stays, he sees a lot of them. He has friends with them. So he didn't mind being asked that, and he didn't mind ignoring him. And when I asked him why, he said, no, these guys are just like us. Yeah, so I want to come back on the issue of hardship. Yeah. What are the challenges now for you? Because yes, we have mentioned for younger lawyers, but for you, what?
So the challenge, in my profession, you mean, or just challenges? For you.
Yes, I know there are professional challenges that people face as a field, maybe.
All right.
An area of expertise. But you are your own person. You're an individual. And I want your challenge. Yes, I know they might be personal, but
all right. I'm
I just
trying.
want to hear them.
Yeah, I'm trying to maybe try to see how best I can share my challenges, or
Yes.
even the personal ones. My challenge is mostly, I think, have to do with the fact that I'm a young person who's still starting, right?
Yes.
In life.
Yes.
And I think, without saying much, that alone is very difficult. I think everyone who's like you're out of school maybe 1 or 2 years, your income is, even if it's not bad, but it's not, maybe you don't afford everything that you have. You have to, sometimes you have to take care of your family and all that. And learning itself, I'm still in my beginnings in my legal practice too. So that on its own is a challenge, because you don't know a lot. Let's say you don't have enough experience. Of course, lawyering being a practice, maybe you are always gaining experience every time, but I think when we are starting, it's a very difficult thing. You have to work hard, and working hard, you don't have time for so many other things. You just have to devote your time to all that.
I'm interested in your transition from school to work.
Yeah.
When you graduated, what were the expectations that you had for the workplace, for the industry as a whole, outside of our intellectual walls?
Right. I would think maybe for me, when I graduated, right, people, I didn't have much expectations, though. Maybe I had been a person who would think of life in the worst possible scenario. So, but what I did was, I had a lot of opportunities. People thought I was very good at what I was doing. So I think many people had a lot of expectations. So it was the other way around, actually.
All right.
So I don't know, maybe I disappointed them, or I lived up to those expectations. I don't know. But transitioning from school to the post-school life was a challenge. First, the people that I used to play with, they went away. I found myself in Harare, away from my family, and then the friends I was used to play in Harare, they were gone.
Wait, no.
Like, some are still on campus, some have gone to Bulawayo, and then and all those things. You are actually starting afresh, like really from scratch. For me, my family is in Bulawayo or Japan or something like that. I don't have close relatives in Harare. So it was really starting afresh. So you are dragging your suitcase from Manfred. Then the next week you have to be on whatever attachment or internship.
Yes, new
Now
beginnings.
you are looking for a house to rent. You hear there's someone who you can get cheap houses in Grua, because at that point of course when you are coming from school, you haven't graduated, or you are a graduate trainee, whatever you are. Most probably with your pay wouldn't afford
so much.
Yes. Right? So you look for the cheapest houses, or not, let me say houses, but room, transport, all that kind of hassle. When you are in campus, you are used to waking up, bags.
Yes.
You go back. If you want to sleep,
you have a room.
You have a room.
No stress way to sleep.
Yeah. So now that kind of life, starting to get used to it, and just seeing that now you are grown up, you are on your own.
Yeah. Tell me something.
Yeah.
You mentioned about attachment and what, and I'm interested in how you navigated like staying alone, because you're saying your relatives were so far away, and did you have friends that joined you in renting rooms or something?
Yes, actually, after some time, one of my friends, actually, we stayed together.
Okay.
But then after some time he left. But I think by the time he left, I was used to that, so it was not a nice experience.
So you used to cook for yourself?
Yes.
Oh, so Zunde has helped you then. Wait, did your mother teach you how to cook for your?
Yeah,
for yourself,
my mother used to. We would cook.
Right.
Yeah, so cooking wasn't really something new.
That's good.
Yeah, but so I would cook for myself.
On a score of 1 to 10 or a 0 to 10, how do you judge your cooking skills?
Well, I think I would say maybe 7. I know that's too high, but
No, it's not too high. It's good. It's
but
good.
I would say I once joined the catering team.
Yes.
When I was still in Bulawayo. So I think to some degree I had interest in cooking.
That's good.
So, but now I don't think that interest is still there. Maybe still there, but time. But I think I wasn't bad I'm not a bad person in cooking. When I go back to visit my family, still I most of the time cook for them.
You're the one who's cooking for them?
Yes.
Okay, this may be private. How many siblings do you have?
We are 7 in my family.
7.
So
How many girls?
3.
So you cook for them?
So
And
most probably what's happening is now we are grown up people. Right?
Okay. Yes.
So some are married, some are wherever they are.
Yes.
Right. So usually when you go back to your home, there is maybe your mother and your father and maybe 2 other. So not everyone is there.
Okay.
So that being the case, so you may find yourself, if you want to help, you can actually help. Yeah. So I think that's what makes me maybe end up doing that. So I think that explains it.
Yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned that you are now a lawyer.
Yeah.
And you passed through the association.
Yes.
And obviously, I recall maybe you guys were affected by COVID.
Yes.
But
yes.
did you have any chance to go to Zunda?
Yes, I did.
How many?
I'm not sure, maybe 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Okay. What things do really come to your mind immediately when I mention Zunda? When I just say Zunda, what?
Well, Zunde is a very nice time if you go there. I think the last Zunde I went for a pre-campaign.
Wow! So you did 3 weeks?
No.
Or you went for the
I went for the pre-campaign and then I stayed also part of the days for Zunde, but then we had attachment to rush for. Okay. So pre-campaign was so nice. Like imagine you are there for a week.
Yes.
Going around, meeting people, telling them what you are and you are coming from, and then people giving you gifts, being happy about you. And we used to walk a lot. It was Wende Valley. Wende Valley, yes. Wende Valley is a very nice place. It is nice views, so nice.
Was it in the rainy season or in winter?
Yeah, it was in December actually. Raining. Yeah, so we stayed in a school which was almost up there. So you wake up one day, you are in the, what do you call this? In the mist, as if you're in the clouds.
Oh, with stuff like that.
Yeah,
okay.
And you know, coming from that side, the western side of the country, where it's dry and flat.
It's always a plain.
Yeah. In where I come from, I think what we have is most forest, but it's a region for forest, so they are dry and then they are green during the winter. But it's different from Wende Valley where we have mountains, almost evergreen, and we have fog and all that. That was very nice experience.
That's good.
And of course we had good food. I think people supported us. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because some people, we normally don't appreciate the kind of diet that we
Mhm.
have. I remember going to Zunde,
Yeah.
and I've said this before.
Yeah.
I'm someone who eats less but consistently.
All right. Okay.
But in Zunde now, you are forced to eat
Maybe
it once.
At once, and then
in the
you
morning,
go
then you get some snacks, then
after in the evening.
supper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really had a fair share in the morning, to sustain me during the day.
During the day.
But I never recall any times starving.
Okay.
Yeah, those fallacies of where like people starve in Zunde and so on. I never experienced it. Maybe it was another Zunde.
All
But
right.
you mentioned good food. Were you the one who was maybe part of the team?
So when we are in the pre-campaign, we have few people. I think we were about 6 or something.
Okay.
So we would take turns to cook. But of course, I think we had ladies. They were more involved than
gents.
us.
Okay.
So everyone did take a part in cooking.
That's good.
And possibly maybe food when you are cooking for a few people, people really take their time to cook nice food than maybe when it's for a big number of people, something like that.
That's interesting. What did you learn at Zunde that you think you couldn't have possibly learned anywhere else?
I think before I go there, I should also mention that where I work now,
Yes.
I actually got the job in this one. Maybe I shouldn't say exactly that because I had had interactions with the people before.
Yes.
But when they told me to come to work on Monday, it was on a Zoom. So we were together in the Zoom, and then the person said, "Okay, did you find somewhere to?" Then I said, "No, not. I had a law firm in Ulao that had called me." And then I said, "Well, there is this firm that I volunteered for." They said, "But we can come on Monday." So that's another.
In Zunde.
That was in Zunde too. So I went for Zunde. Unfortunately for that Zunde, I didn't stay there for the whole time. But for that period or for that day that I was there,
Yes.
that's when also these people were also
We're there, and then you interacted, then boom.
Yes,
Next thing you are in attachment.
exactly. So that's it. But first, I think my first Zundes in the association, I learned a lot in the English lessons, like spiritual, of course, because that's the main reasons why you people are there.
Yes.
So I think I learned a lot there. And then I'm not personally a person who's very good in speaking short,
Yes.
but I do understand. And in difficult circumstances, let me not say in difficult circumstances, but in people I feel they don't understand English,
Yes.
I do speak short.
You try and you communicate.
I actually do speak, but I perfectly hear everything.
That's good. That's good.
But I think the transformation or much of it happened when we were in Zone.
Really?
Because of course, imagine going there for a week,
Yes.
and then you are
It's only Shona.
you are in a Shona speaking community, and you have to communicate why you are here and all that.
So when you came part 1, you didn't know any. You didn't hear any word.
Yeah, no,
of
I was
Shona.
I was blank.
And then you learned.
Yes, I
Okay.
learned. Yeah.
No, that's interesting. Now, just to maybe wind up. You have projects that you have for the future, and as a maybe growing lawyer.
Yeah.
You have eyes on something. Maybe because it won't be worth to live if you've nothing to live for. So, what are your eyes on? What makes your heart beat faster when you think about it?
Well,
Yes.
maybe without specifically mentioning that project or whatever I want to do, I think what makes me think longingly or my heart beats when I think about it is actually the result.
All right.
That feeling where finally you said, I have achieved.
All All right.
So sometimes I just imagine the future,
Yeah.
or whatever I wish to, and what it could help me with, or what I can be, or what I can do when I have that. So I think that makes me really want to.
I know a few lawyers
Yeah.
who are Adventists,
Yeah.
and I was just thinking to myself, what motivates these guys? Because the current axiom, or the usual, maybe believed statement about law and lawyers is that you might not be so much into being a Christian or something like that. What does law mean to you in the context of your spirituality and your faith?
Well, I would say there is no profession that doesn't offer some temptations or something like that, right?
Yes, it's very true.
So it all depends on your personality. But there are circumstances where one is tempted, or which has more temptations than the other, right? Maybe some areas of law, or some circumstances may be very, very tempting, or for you to go against what your standard. But then the advice that one should always bear is that if they are to be true Christians, they should be true Christians. Like, they should not do what they feel like it's against their conscience, right? So I think on that point, we as lawyers, as Christian lawyers, we just need to be clear from day one with our people, so, and your client. And what also helps is when you know what you're doing, when you're a good lawyer, right? You avoid so many of those other problems. So when you try to do your best in your lawyering, then you avoid so many things. Like, people would trust you, and you wouldn't have a lot of other problems. You can actually get people to do things for you without even buying them, depending on how you relate to them.
I'm getting the impression that being a Christian lawyer somehow forces you to be good at your...
Yeah, not only lawyering,
Yes.
every profession.
Like
Like it's an obligation for a Christian to be a very to at least do things to the best of their abilities. So that's
every Christian.
Every Christian.
In whatever
if you are a doctor, be a doctor. I think there is a quotation by Martin Luther Jr. which says something like, when you are a street sweeper, you should sweep it to the best of their abilities. To the extent that the angels or something, like, they would say there that was a Christian that swept there. Yeah.
That was a Christian.
Yeah. So I've forgotten what the quotation says exactly, but it says something like that. I think the obligations lie
with every profession.
Every profession. So every Christian must bear that in mind, and unfortunately we disappoint Jesus in that regard, in so many of us. Yes. So then we find we have to do some shortcuts, or sometimes and all those things. So that's really something that we have to look into ourselves and just maybe consider and change.
Yeah, I'm challenged because I also am involved in what people normally believe as a TikTok program.
All right.
And
okay.
I think I believe that I could maybe follow Christ in that which I study.
Okay. Yes.
And perfect it. But what do you think it's only in academic professions only, or in intellectual professions only, or it actually goes on to the practical professions, those maybe crafts and all?
No, I think it cuts across every profession. So you know what makes someone more indispensable, or someone who would not, let's say, be out of the game, is your ability and fitness. So if you master the game, right, you are assured that you may live in it for some time. So there might be challenges here and there, maybe about your principles, your Christianity and all that, but in the end, I think when you are good, you will be needed. For example, let's say I know Daniel and Joseph were very intelligent people, and maybe their circumstances might be extreme.
Yes.
But I think maybe we can learn something. Even in those circumstances where they were thrown out because of maybe the jealousy or the evil plottings of some other men, because they had something that they were supposed to offer, they ended up fetching them. Joseph, he was in prison, right? But then there came a time where they said, we want someone to interpret this dream. No one could do it, and then they said, but there's someone there in the prison.
There's a guy.
Yeah, there's a guy there. I know a guy. Come and get him.
How can you be known when you are mediocre?
Exactly.
How can you be referred to?
Exactly.
Oh,
same with
interesting.
Yeah, same with who is that? Daniel. Maybe at some point the king would start calling his own people, right? His own friends, his own magicians, but then they would say, well, we can deal with it, and then they deal. And I understand possibly not everyone is extremely gifted intellectually and all that, but it appears if you try your best and you don't complain, like you don't have evil intentions, but try your best, I guess God will show up for you, because otherwise, if God doesn't show up, right, or if things don't turn out well, that means God has destined some other people to live a good life, and then He has just destined other people to what? To suffer. So there is no other way of thinking about it, because then it would mean people who are naturally gifted. I know this is a very difficult topic, especially for me.
Yes, I'm struggling to.
Yeah, it's a very complicated situation. But if you are a person of ordinary intelligence, like let's say ordinary, of which most of the people are, if you passed O level and you came to university, that's a testament that you are
ordinarily intelligent.
Yeah, yes, you have some capacity and you can do things. So now a greater portion would depend on your attitude, and so if you really persevere and work hard, you will find yourself, you will find something maybe where you can do better.
Yes.
And then it will be good, I think.
Yes. Because I remember my supervisor at work. We go through what we call professional exams.
Yeah.
To our professional boards. Maybe this applies in actuarial science.
All right. Okay.
So there is normally this belief that they are hard.
All right.
Exams are very,
very, very hard.
Yes, and you have to pass through those rigorous maybe experiences.
All right. Okay.
So that you can be qualified.
Yeah.
So we were once discussing this thing with my supervisor. So he was now saying there are a few geniuses that exist.
Yeah.
I'm not a genius.
Okay.
But it was a matter of attitude.
Okay. Yeah.
And as you are saying, I'm just trying to confirm what you're saying.
Yeah. All right.
Ordinarily, most people are intelligent. What differs across those kinds of people is the attitude.
Yeah, I would say if you manage to come to university,
yes,
then you are good to go. We can't put you in the bracket of people who can't understand things.
You can understand
You
things.
can
learn new
understand things. You can learn new things, and that's a good start.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Because as a lawyer, I know you deal with maybe dense literature, right? Do you think we understand things the same way? You and I. I'm no lawyer. I'm studying mathematics, and statistics, and economics. And do you think we can understand things the same way? Because I wanted to project back to what you said. As Christians, we have something in common, that is Jesus. Do you think we can understand Jesus the same way, given the different kinds of understanding that we?
Okay. I think for every person there is a level where we may agree on things, or we may understand it the same way.
Yes.
And then there are some other extreme points or circumstances or aspects that we may have slightly different views. So as a lawyer, or also I've listened to some psychologists, right? There are general rules and general trends, and then there are exceptions.
Yes.
So we may have a thing that we say, this thing we agree, we are understanding the same thing, we agree on every aspect. Then as we move up or deeper or something like that, then there might be some perspectives that maybe you as a mathematician would understand in a different way. And some of those things may be very consequential, like those minor differences can be very consequential. Sometimes they may not be very consequential. And that's true for almost everything. We can actually say, I always make an example of let's say the differences between men and women.
Yes.
Maybe in terms of their what we call characters or behavior, or something like that. People may find that men are prone to, or all people are prone to make crimes or what?
Yes.
Or to commit crimes, let me say that, or be violent.
Yes, to violence.
Yes. So all people are like that. But at the extreme, men are more.
Because we have more men
in prisons
than
women. And you might find that the difference lies not in the general, but in the extreme side.
All right.
So that extreme can be a determining factor. So it doesn't mean we as people we don't understand. There are things that we agree on, that we share, we understand them in the same way.
Yes.
But then there are some other things that we may differ. They may be consequential, they may be non-consequential. So I think that's my perspective.
What I'm drawing from what you are saying is maybe confirm that I heard you right.
Yes.
Is that the main points of difference are not in our maybe in the points where we agree more or where we understand the same way. But are in the extremes.
That has been the problem throughout history. If you check the Jews, the Jews have a lot that they agree with Islamists.
Yes.
But on those few differences or whatever extreme points, they are ready to kill each other. So
we can even project it to our own maybe belief systems.
Even as Adventists too. There are many points that we agree on. We may agree on Sabbath. But then you find someone who thinks, well, I'm trying to think of a very other point that maybe someone might have a difference in.
It doesn't matter what I eat, dress.
Except someone might think, actually I've seen relationships maybe crumble because someone thought during the night we are supposed to eat light food.
And you want to have meal.
And then this other one is saying, mina ngifuna ukuthi ngilale ngidle salad or something.
That might break.
But they agree on the Sabbath. They agree on on the Trinity, they agree on almost all the 20 whatever fundamental beliefs. So
Okay.
yes, we can as people agree on so many things, but it's difficult to get people agree on everything like the same way. But also the possibility of also those differences creating very dire consequences is high, or they can actually be not so consequential.
Do you think do you think we could have a better world if people focus more on their agreements than in their disagreement? If you agree on
yes, yeah, I think we would, because a lot of troubles in this world stem from disagreement. But then the problem is, if that was possible, but the problem is many people would say those differences to them maybe they're a matter of life and death. For example, if I feel like let's say in any setting we agree on so many things, but then there's one point I differ with you, and I believe that point is going to send me to hell, right? Then we have a challenge, because according to my belief system, then I can't agree or do that or tolerate it without the risk of going to hell. You get it? So we can explore our agreements, but man, it depends on what do you perceive as the consequence of going along that point will be different. So I think in religion, let's say in the history of religions, the problem with other religions, maybe Christianity has this freedom of choice thing, right? But some other religions, they will actually believe that you have to take an action against someone who disagree with you even on this minor point. Yeah. So it's either that person has to throw away his religion or renounce it, or live up to the religion and kill you, or whatever deal with you. So it's a very complicated situation.
No compromise.
But I think the solution is, I think as Christians and as Adventists and the Western civilizations, we have developed the idea of freedom of conscience.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So yes, we can focus on what we agree on and enjoy it, but at the same time, on those points that we differ, we can debate about it, but let's not kill each other for it. Let's just tolerate each other, worship the God, or as long as it doesn't kill me. I think even our constitution allows us that.
Let's not kill each other for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Putomdala.
Okay.
By the way, I call him Putomdala because he is my big brother, and I'm very excited that I got to know him more, even share our Christian experiences with God more, and of his profession. By the way, I didn't know much of the stuff that he said about his profession. I had my other ideas about it, but now I believe I have clearer views. And just any last words that you wish you could maybe impart to someone, or to me as an individual, or to anyone.
Well, I think maybe I should say this. Most people think maybe they have their own ideals about what constitutes a good life, or a happy life, and so many are disappointed maybe as they grow. So many young people, they have all their ideals about how things should turn out, but maybe when they reach some time, many are disappointed. So I think that's how things are, but we have to keep on fighting. If we had everything, I think on earth, as easy as as we would want to, I think we would lose that adventure flavor in our life. So you would actually see, I think what gives people the purpose and the enjoyment is the adventure, to continuously expect to reach a goal or to explore something, which is what we should do. So we should continuously be in an adventure and explore things.
Thank you very much for those wise words. We've come to the end of our discussion. I had a very engaging discourse. I must say, my head is big, but it's bigger now.
Okay.
Yes, it's bigger now. You have massaged my intellect, and I feel revived. And I hope to have it again. Thanks to our producer for spending time with us, and get in touch with us for more. If you have any maybe topics that you want to or guests that you want to have on, you can reach out to us. The channel is going to be displayed on the screen, and thank you very much. Come to the end.